welcome to another 31 Days of Horror 2017 video. Yes, it is our 31st film. We have done it, and it is not yet the end of the month. There is a possibility that there will be more to come. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just stop here. I don't know. We'll find out later, I guess. And unfortunately, I did not end off the series this year with a bang. This was a lone attempt. It was a late night watch for me, just to be able to get the 31 days, the 31 films in. And I did that with the 2009 film. Well, here it says it's called Haunting at the Beacon. But apparently its original title is just The Beacon. Yes, it says Terry Polo and Michael Ironside. That's how they're selling this film. Yeah. So, what is it about? Well, essentially, it's about this couple that's trying to get their lives back together after their 4-year-old son. I get at some points they say that he's missing, but at other points it seems like he's clearly, they know he's dead. It's kind of, the movie doesn't really go in one direction or the other, but we'll just say that he died. So the couple, Bryn, played by Terry Polo, who you would know from like the Fokker movies, Little Fockers, Meet the Fockers, etc., etc. The Arrival. Meet the Parents, I guess, was the first one, right? Things like that. You would know her from. Not really a genre type actor, but was in quite a few television things like The West Wing, I'm With Her, The Practice, Sports Night, and Brimstone. So, yeah, has had a very, very good career. So she would be one of the more seasoned actors in this, and her husband Paul is played by David Reese Snell, who, if you watched The Shield or The Unit, he played Ronnie Gardocki and Leon Drake, respectively. He was in Last Resort, Cleaners. I'm trying to think. Sons of Anarchy was one of the places that I knew him from. The agent Grad Nicholas. I also knew him from The Unit. He was in like a few episodes of that. But again, he's also not really a genre actor per se. And I wouldn't say he's had quite the career that Terry has, or had, or whatever you would say. But he is a working actor, and he's quite a bit. A lot of low budget and some television, as I mentioned. So those two are essentially your main couple there. And they move into the Beacon Apartments, thus the Beacon. And of course, the wife Bryn starts seeing this ghostly little boy, and from there on, it sort of develops. She starts seeing other weird things happening, and nobody really believes her because, you know, she's distraught. She just wants to essentially reconnect with her lost son, and so she's seeing these things or trying to get attention, you know, like the standard things like, you're not really seeing ghosts, you're crazy, or you're not seeing ghosts, you're just, looking for attention, that kind of stuff, right? Standard thing. And so what ends up happening is Paul gets sort of like a young professor helping him. I guess he teaches at the university or something. And who was that guy? He was a guy named Johnny Cruz, who looked kind of familiar, but I don't know that I had ever seen him in anything. And so, yeah, this professor starts essentially researching ghosts and helping with the whole ghost aspect and the history of the building. And like any ghost story, it's about trying to find out what went wrong, why are the ghosts around, that kind of stuff. So in that sense, it doesn't really tread any new ground. It does have kind of a Twilight Zone ending, if I had to say anything, which is kind of, I guess, the what a lot of people who tend to like this film flock to. It's not really scary, considering it's a ghost story with hauntings and stuff. That's where I was kind of disappointed about the film. For ghost stories, I expect the scares to really either, big time tension or throw me some jump scares, and they don't really deliver on either of those things, even though they do try. Not very successfully, I might add. The makeup effects aren't too bad. There are a little bit of gore and some, deadite makeup going on here. Not too bad. Not spectacular, but very much above par when it comes to something that's, on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of budgets. It's clearly, I don't think they spent a lot of money on them, but the people they hired obviously had some talent and knew what they were doing. That being said, the look of the film and the way it was shot, not that great. And that comes down to the fact probably the writer-director Michael Stokes, who I believe it's his first film in terms of directing. He's mostly known as a writer. He wrote the Iron Eagle 4, and what was it? Bram Stoker's Shadow Builder. But he's really mostly known for writing kids' television shows. Yeah. But one of the things he did write was a film called Exit Speed, which oddly enough is the one place where I would have seen Johnny Cruz from, and I believe several of the other actors in this film were also in that, including David Rees-Snell. So yeah, quite interesting. Other people who are in this film, like I said, we had right on the cover there, Michael Ironside, who should need no relation to. He's in everything from Top Gun to Scanners to Starship Troopers and Total Recall. He is one of the lesser known greats of genre films, and he has put his signature into many of the films that we absolutely love. Also in the film is Marnette Peterson, who plays, I believe, the sister of Bryn Shaw. I think it's her sister. I could be wrong. But she in terms of genre work, might know her from Starship Troopers 3 Marauder, or the Charmed television series. But I think a good portion of people would either maybe know her from her early works in Camp Nowhere or her later works in American Sniper. So yeah, it's amazing the amount of talent that's actually pulled into this film. I mean, there's others, but I'm not going to get into them per se. But it's, I mean, Ken Howard's in this film. A lot of people who just have a lot of experience, which is why it really, I guess it hurts when you have a guy who's helming the film, written and directed by a guy who really does not have the chops to pull it off. It really this comes across as a very almost made for TV horror film. Honestly, if it wasn't for some of the sexual, though they don't show anything, some of the sexual ideas in the film, and of course the gore and such. Of course, now, I mean, these days television gore is everywhere, but when it came to made-for-TV movies, that wasn't necessarily the case back in the day, though 2009 isn't really that long ago, I guess, right? But I don't know, I'm kind of thinking of the 90s, but anyways, yeah, the film really didn't hit home for me. If I was to give it a rating, I'd say it's like a 2.5 out of 5. It could, I mean, the plot and the story itself is a decent idea. I mean, there is the possibility of a good film, like a really good film here, not a great film, but a really good, entertaining film. And unfortunately, they just kind of dropped the ball here. Yeah, unfortunately. There isn't much else to be said. It's one of those films that there's a lot that's wrong, like not very good about it, but there's enough redeeming qualities to get it to a point where I wouldn't necessarily give it a recommend, but at the same time, there are worse things that you could watch. Yeah. No recommendation coming from me, but I mean, it might be on Netflix. It's got a DVD. I'm sure you can pick it up really, really cheap. And you could watch worse. There are much worse movies out there. We tend to watch a lot of them during the 31 Days of Horror. So, getting a 50% on the quality rateometer, I don't know. Take it for what you will. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know if you've seen the film and what you thought of it. Keep it spoiler free, as always, as I try to do here when I'm reviewing. Love to hear from you. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.